Capricorn, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late November 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Capricorn collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the Cappies? In late November, it's Sagittarius season. I mean, Cap season's right around the corner, but let's get it going here. What do we got? Energy, messages, insights. What can we take a peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card, then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for the Cappies. Please, in late November, what's the vibe? What is the energy around my good friends here? Thank you. All right, Queen of Swords, very stern, very serious and strict. Now, for a portion of you, it might just be an air sign we're seeing here. And of course, this is an oracle. It's not a tarot deck, but you look at that strong divine feminine figure. She always gives me Queen of Swords vibes, which can have a lot of positives and benefits, but there's some drawbacks too. But before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the November subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk a little bit more about this card. So again, we see this strong divine feminine figure. She has that crown, and she looks very stern, very much about her business, and that's why she just gives me Queen of Swords vibes. So what do I think of when that energy comes through? If you're not connected to Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, the Queen of Swords is very straightforward, no nonsense, no BS, quite logical. So for a lot of Capricorns, whatever it is you're dealing with, I think the logical path could be showing its face early, like, all right, well, maybe you need to take emotion out of it and just do what's right in your head. It does link to last week's reading as well, because I remember last week's reading did have some strategy involved, and she is a planner. So whatever it is you're going through too, like step-by-step plan-based type of energy here in a strong way. Now, I already told you the positives. When it comes to the challenge of the Queen of Swords, though, it could represent serious things, serious situations, or something that you need to take seriously. She can sometimes be a little mean, a little cold-hearted. So if that's not you, it could be someone else you're dealing with where they're coming off quite cold. So we'll see what shows up within the reading. We're just going to put her over there. She could keep staring at us. Let's get into tarot now. And yeah, I always say that first card there doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's see what tarot has. Let's get 3 in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. So let's shuffle it up one time here for the Cappies, please. And while we get it shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was titled, They Have a Plan. So you see what I mean? It ties perfectly in with that card over here. Whether it's something that you need to plan a little more thoroughly, or someone you're connected to, where they're being very strategic and calculated. We're going to see what shows up this week, but you know, energies could bleed over. Just take this however it hits for you, because energy is very fluid and never set in stone. And yeah, we could be looking at your vibe or someone else's, right? Let's get you 3 cards in the upright. See what shows up in late November, Sagittarius season. What do we got for the Cappies, please? Late November, please. Here we go. Thank you. All right. So we are starting here with a pretty heavy water element showing up. So you got 2 cards that came out at once. We have the 7 of Cups in position number 1. That's usually good for options and paths. A little daydreamy. And we have the Chariot. That's action. That's movement. I do like the Chariot. Let's get one more out here, and we'll really start piecing this together. Strong water energy. Which, I mean, as an earth sign, that could be something you do vibe with. Okay, 3 of Pentacles here on the back end. So we're seeing the energy of other people here in a strong way. That's work and career as well. So we have an interesting mix. I like the elements we have going on. Let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. But at first glance, you know, I always like to look at the elements first and how they play off of each other. Initially, boom, right here with the 7 of Cups and the Chariot, water sign energy in a powerful way. Now, when I see a lot of water, I mean, it's similar to the Queen of Swords, where there could be a lot of mental action going on. Cups, though, they could be very emotional. There's a certain depth to this. There's a creativity, but again, it could be very daydreamy, and it's internal energy. We have some earth on the back end, so when you mix the earth and water here, I always say that's a recipe for potential. a recipe for abundance. So we could be looking at something nice. I'm feeling pretty neutral about the energy so far. Let's go through piece by piece and really start to build it out. So position number one, we're starting with the Seven of Cups. Now, I like this card for a whole variety of different reasons. We see this individual, looks like they're standing there and choosing which cup they're going to take. I always say this card can link into manifesting and creating. And to me, I call this the menu board of life, where this person's like, okay, well, I could go this way, I could go that way, weighing options, making choices. That's big here. I feel like this card in and of itself represents a whole bunch of potential. So regardless of what you're going through right now, it's like, okay, there might be more paths that are going to open up for you, where you might have more options than you think. It's really good. When it comes to the challenge of this card, obviously this person's very daydreamy, overthinking. Now, again, that doesn't have to be you. It could be someone that has you on the mind, or there could just be something that's taking up the lion's share of your internal energy when this card shows up. But I feel like this could be good. If it is a choice or a decision, I don't feel like that's going to take long, especially with the card that we have coming up next to it. So this feels okay to me initially, aside from the fact that it's kind of just, it's out there. So just know that your head might be in the clouds a little more than normal when this card's in the mix. Moving over to the center position, we have the Chariot, a very powerful card, the fastest moving card in the whole entire deck. Now, this does link to the Cancer collective, the Cancerians. So if you're connected to one, here they are showing up here in the mix. Some of the positives of the Chariot, it's either it's coming or going, it's moving. This card is not still, it's not stagnant, it's making quick, decisive action. And like I said, it's very fast. It's explosive, it's aggressive, and it could be something that really picks up steam quickly. So generally, I do like this card. For some people, yeah, it could represent distance and travel, taking trips, stuff like that, but it could even represent modes of transportation. So maybe some of you are dealing with transportation or vehicles, but that's a little too hyper specific for this reading. The Chariot is good to me because the energy's on the go, it's on the move. So we're going to have to see, is it magnetism, is it coming in, or is it going? That's the real thing we want to look at. Now, when we come to the challenge of this card, yeah, there's tons of determination and good movement, but this card can be very aggressive. It could be a little flighty, okay? It could be something that, like, all right, it comes and goes really, really quick, or it's like here one day, gone the next. So we want to take a real hard look at this. And I always mention that chariots were initially made as instruments of war. So there's an aggression here, and sometimes it could represent conflict. I'm not going to say that's it right now. So we definitely want to see what way the energy's flowing when we clarify this. Now, moving to the back end, another intriguing mixture, so I feel like your reading this week has a lot of depth to it. We have the Three of Pentacles, really nice. So for some Capricorns, you might just be in Pentacle mode, whether it's like finances, businesses, what you do for a living, like being very honed in on the financials is huge with this card. It is also a card similar to the other threes of the groups of people around you, whether it's friends, whether it's family, co-workers, you name it. So when this card shows up, it can tell us about how someone you're connected to could be feeling, or what they're going through, what they're thinking. So it's going to be important for us to see. And I always say this card is teamwork makes the dream work. It's really nice. The challenge of this, it could represent someone in your circle that something's a little off here, or it's someone that doesn't play nice with others. So we're going to have to see what's up with this. But I do feel like the Three of Pentacles, for a good portion of you, could just represent situations involving what you do to earn money or financial things in general. So I want to dive deeper on all of it, Cappy. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Let's get a good shuffle here for you, my friends. Let's see what's happening for the Cappies, please. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Seven of Cups, that menu board of life, that manifestation. And yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Capricorn, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. All right, Seven of Cups time. Pardon me. Why is that Seven of Cups here? Thank you. Hierophant in reverse. All right, so there could be a big change looming for a lot of you. And I'm not going to say that it's a negative one, but when I see the Hierophant in reverse, it's like, okay, well, something's about to shift here, whether it's something within your normal day-to-day life or schedule. The Hierophant is generally a super grounded, earthy type of energy, which is not a bad thing. To me, it's a card that represents our routine, our day-to-day life, or things that have been in our life for a long time. So when we see it in reverse, that's similar to a tower. That's like a big shakeup. So when I see it under the Seven of Cups, it's like, okay, something is looming here. Some sort of energy is building up to some big shift or change. It's just showing up here really strong. Now, for a portion of you might be connected to a Taurus whenever the Hierophant shows up. Yes, it could represent big corporations, structured religions, anything where there's like a huge group of people. That's what I think of here, like power structures of sorts. But again, it's within the box. This isn't an energy that's very flighty like we see here in the center. So when I see this in reverse underneath the Seven of Cups, it's like either a big or massive change looming, like it's getting ready, especially with the Chariot right next to it, because it's like, all right, it's building, it's building. Now, for a lot of you, there could be multiple areas of life that are about to shift in a big way for you. Okay, so whether it is work related, whether it is interpersonal connections, it all really depends. So let's just keep moving. Let's see if we could get a little more detail here. But yeah, something's looming here. And I always like to mention that, yeah, life is perpetual change. Like sometimes things take a long time, sometimes they happen very rapidly. But when I see this alignment, it's like, oh, all right, there's some major ones looming, and it doesn't necessarily feel bad to me. But let's go in on the Chariot. So I would expect various situations or various things, like they're getting ready to shift into like a new light. So let's see what the Chariot has. Why is the Chariot here, please? Thank you. Okay, so beware of something shifting so quick that it makes you uncomfortable. I have the Eight of Swords in the upright, so a complete shift of energy. Like I was mentioning here, like it's building up here in the front end. Sometimes in life, we can make calls, we can make decisions and change things if that's what we want to do. But sometimes it's a little bit out of our hands. So when I see the Chariot with the Eight of Swords, I do feel that things could change, or this is the main theme of the game we're seeing this week, but I feel like there are certain things where they're either going to change so quick and so fast where it's going to make you feel a little uneasy or a little uncomfortable. Either that or it's just one that comes out of nowhere. Notice this person is hoodwinked. That is a card that is a little stressed. So I feel for some of you it could be a surprising or unexpected change. Now, hopefully that's a good thing. If you've been going through things that are a little frustrating or they've been bogged down, when I see this alignment, it's like, okay, this energy frees up real quick. So I feel like those are the main two messages. Either something that picks up so much steam so quick where you're like, whoa, 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 slow it down here. It's a little too much. Or once again, a surprising or unexpected change. That's just how it feels to me. This energy is a little on edge, but again, I don't feel like this is a bad thing. We'll see how it all plays out as we keep moving, but I like it for the most part. And as mentioned earlier, yeah, life is about perpetual change, but I feel like you're going to be moving into a rather intense period of that, and it could be for the best. Let's move in on Three of Pentacles, see what's happening there, and then we'll do a quick little recap before we get into the shadow. So what's going on with that Three of Pentacles, please? Why is it here for the Cappies? This deck is being super specific for you. Okay, so we do have Lady Justice in reverse. This touches on something that could be totally different here for some of you, especially if you're connected to a Libra. We've been seeing this big air sign energy showing up as well. Lady Justice in reverse can represent something connected to the past. So when I see her underneath the Three of Cups, it's either revisiting a topic or something like popping back up. And there's a familiarity with it. I'm also getting a bit of an apologetic type of energy too. That's not for every Capricorn. So if there is someone you've had a fallout with, or things haven't been quite right, there could be an energy of like the bridge being rebuilt, if that's something you're wanting to do. So there is a good energy here for either something to return, and I feel like it could be a good thing. You're familiar with this already, or once again, there's like an apologetic type of energy. Because when I see Lady Justice in reverse, she can sometimes represent trying to bring something into balance, righting wrongs, things like that. I don't feel like this is an unfair situation. I could say for a very, very small percentage of you out there, you might just be in a work situation where you're carrying too much of the load. That could be very possible with the Three of Pentacles and Lady Justice in reverse, but obviously not every single Capricorn. You're doing more than your share. That's how this feels to me in regards to like a work setting. But yeah, it's a return of some sort, or it's an apologetic type of energy. So don't be shocked if those things pop up over the next few days. But let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow card. Lots of things happening here. And as I mentioned, the energy is very fluid. Like something's priming here in a very big way. But if you kindly look in the box, position number 1, we have the Seven of Cups with the Hierophant in reverse. Like I said, Hierophant in reverse is very similar to a tower where something happens real quick, big shakeup. And to me, it feels like the energy is building. Now, I feel like for a lot of you, you're going to be moving into an intense period where various things are changing, whether it's your internal feelings and emotions or even external things. To me, it just feels like there's some things that might be planned, some things that might be unplanned, because as we move to the center, we have the Chariot with the Eight of Swords. Now, specifically, if you've been in a time where you're feeling stuck, this energy could feel very, very intense for you, where it's like, all right, well, it's going from 0 to 100. So to me, it feels like either a change where it's moving so quick and it's happening so fast where the ground feels shaky and it's like, whoa, 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 slow it down. Or again, it could be a surprising or unexpected change here, one that like you didn't quite see coming. On to the back end, we have the Three of Pentacles with Lady Justice in reverse. As I mentioned, I feel like there's something that could be returning that you're familiar with, whether it be a person or a situation. I was also getting an apologetic vibe. So if you've recently had a fallout with somebody, that energy could be trying to make it right or attempting it. And another thing I picked up here for a very small percentage of you in a work situation, you're doing way more than your fair share. Like some of you might be in a situation where you're doing more than the others around you. I know that's hyper specific, but yeah, please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. So let's get a good shuffle here. Let's see what we have for the Cappies. Please and thank you, my gods. And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end, just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They can be a good thing. So let's get your one. And if you've made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card out here. What's in the shadows for the Cappies? Thank you. Knight of Pentacles. Yeah. And the exact opposite of what I was seeing within the reading itself, where all this is like priming up and then energy starts going wild. The Knight of Pentacles, that's more earth sign energy, so it could be representing yourself. You might need to move into self-focus for the coming days and weeks, where it's like, all right, well, I'm just prioritize my health and well-being. So make sure you're taking care of yourself when I see this as a shadow card, specifically because you're an earth sign. But what do we know about the Knight of Pentacles? Out of all the knights, it's the slowest mover. And when it comes to the shadow side of the Knight of Pentacles, it's like some things never change. So it's funny that we have this energy here, like things are priming up, things are going, things are going to change, but then there's definitely some things that are going to stay the same. Right? Like it's that little bit of a mixed bag. Now for a small portion of it, I know I mentioned it a couple times, if you're feeling stuck, this energy could represent it. I feel like that's an illusion. I feel like you're not as stuck as you may feel, especially with these options showing up here. So interesting type of energy. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself. That's a big thing here. And yeah, Cappy, that is what I have for you this week, my beautiful friends. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the November subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out my digital calendar and book one on my website, mastermetaphysics.com. But for the November subscriber surprise, I'm giving away 2 copies of one of my all-time favorite decks, the Gilded Tarot Royale. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, 2 simple things as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the tarot cards, which one do you feel is the most misunderstood? And if you're new to tarot completely, which one do you have a little trouble with understanding its meaning? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.